Robert.
Yo, what's shaking AC?
Hey, I am so stoked about the roundtable today, the franchisor roundtable.
That was flippin' magnificent.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so ask Paul Pickett. I'm like, Paul, you're like a superstar. You've got to have a cool topic. And then he brings up like how helping franchisees transfer or sell their business. Like how timely.
Paul nailed it because it's timely. He's a fantastic presenter, and the content that he had was just incredible. Everyone, did you see the chat? There was people like, they were like, oh my God, you just saved my life, you know? And then JT jumped in and said that to him, it's like succession planning. There was so much going on in there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're like puppy dogs all excited right now, but okay, let's slow this down a minute. Okay, so here's the thing. Paul Pickett today presented about the topic of so franchisee transfers and helping them sell their business. And he gave us 3 tips that he's learned over the years because he's been in the business like 31 years. Like not too many people can say that. And so he gave us his 3 tips. Let's share those with the audience. Let's just give that gift. Should we give that gift?
Yes, I think you should, because they're not getting anything else, right? Like Paul had some awesome stuff and you can only get it at this roundtable, right? This is a preview of your Play Bigger groups, right?
Yeah, we'll give them a little teaser here in the rant that if you want more where this came from, baby, you come to the roundtables, and if you want to really ramp things up, you come to Play Bigger, baby.
Yeah.
So here's we'll do the 3. We'll talk about the 3 tips. We'll talk about the content he shared, and then we will maybe share each what one of our takeaways is. So tip number 1, walk your franchisees through the resale process. Don't just leave them to do it themselves, because that's never a good idea, because you never know what they're going to do. They might screw it up and then nobody wins, right? So it is good, not just okay, but it is good to walk your franchisees through the process and not leave them on their own. Mm-hmm. Remember tip number 2? There were so many.
Yes. Okay. Tip number 2 was that it is their job to sell the business.
Correct. Not your job as the franchisor.
Right.
Again, making it like it's okay to talk about that, even in the recruitment process, just so that they start to get the mindset that like at some point I'm going to sell this business but I will have support from my franchisor. Right.
Yeah. And Paul was talking about that sale is not necessarily the exit strategy. You could be gifting it to a family member. I mean, I'm not going to give away too much. You missed it. Sorry.
If you didn't show up, you got to sign up, man. And then number 3 was an area that you're always a big fan of talking about.
Yeah. Valuation. I love evaluating things.
Yeah. Evaluating. Okay. So it was the point there was that often like franchisees will get their accountant to help them or someone in their network, and that person just sort of makes it seem like it's easier than it is, and does like a 4, 5, 6 times multiple, which isn't realistic. So you've got to do it in a more realistic way. So make sure they understand that, so that they don't think it's like, oh, it's not selling. It's,
Yeah, exactly. You know what? That's always a very difficult part with accountants. I mean, I love my accountant, and I'm very blessed to have an accountant who also has the mind frame of a business person, but sometimes accountants don't. Neither do lawyers. Oftentimes other people that are involved in the business, you'd be like, well, you know what? This must be a tech business. So you could go for like 25, 26 times EBITDA, because that's what businesses are going on Sandhills Road for. No.
Right. So getting kind of more like getting more objective opinions about the valuation, not just opinions, but calculations and things like that. So that was the 3 tips. Now, it was really cool that Paul shared those resources for people that were at the roundtable, made them user-friendly so that people can modify them to their own brand. That is so super awesome. I got lots of emails after the roundtable for that. What was your biggest, or maybe not biggest, but what stood out for you? What was one of the takeaways?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for me was like, I always knew or felt that like, this is the franchisee's business. It is theirs to sell, right? It's their job to sell it. So it was great to hear Paul validate that or reaffirm it. But what was interesting for me is the amount of support that the franchisor can give to the sale of the business, right? And there's always the concept, right? Like you want to make sure you screen the new incoming franchisee. You want to make sure that the old franchisee doesn't do any performance representations that are incongruent with actuality or what you're allowed to do. But to me, it's always been sort of like black and white, where like the franchisor is going to take on the responsibility, which he shouldn't, to sell it, or franchisee, sell your business, right? Like I'm happy to just sit here and collect your royalties until you sell it, but it can work together.
Like work together. Yeah. So cool. And my biggest takeaway was probably, well, gosh, there were so many. But what I really liked was that JT Thiessen's point about the at the annual convention hosting a presentation on how to sell your business.
Yeah.
And yeah. So between that and the resources that Paul shared that actually teach the franchisee like how to do it, it's like so much fun.
But you know what? I don't remember if it was JT or somebody else. Maybe it was Paul or Pete Baldine or somebody talked about how they talk about exit strategy or selling the business even during the initial training, right?
Even before that, in the recruitment process, you're right. Someone did talk about in the training. You're totally right on that. Sorry, I jumped on top.
Because like a franchisee could very, very well get into the business saying, I'm gonna build this and then I'm gonna buy 5 more and become a bazillionaire, right? But a franchisor could be thinking, I'm just gonna keep renewing them for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. But there could be an end game. There could be like, I'm going to sign a 5-year contract. I'm going to make buckets of money and then I'm going to sell it, right? Or I'm going to gift it to my nephew or whoever to continue on my legacy. So when you get into a franchising business, you've got to think about what the end goal is, how far out that may be. And you know what? It might even help drive your franchisees. If they're planning on selling it and they know that the valuation and sale price is going to be a derivative of EBITDA, then that's how it's spelled.
Yeah, that's what
that's what they're going to focus on, right?
Right, EBITDA. So, yeah, awesome stuff. I just think also just overall making people more aware of talking about this early on, not waiting till the franchisees already kind of checked out. Talk about it very and be like, this is part of how we support franchisees. It's part of our support system. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
exit strategy doesn't have to be
under 10 minutes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't know how long we've been going.
Oh, well, last time your timer went off at 2 minutes, so I decided to keep time myself. And we're only at 7.5, so we can still talk about other things. Going? How do you feel about the weather today?
I'm sure people want to talk about that. Okay, so anyway, we gave people lots of good key or try to give them tips. I think that the point here is that there is so much value from collaboration as a franchisor. Like learn from your buddies. And right now you can't go to conferences, and webinars are great for content, but they're not relationship building opportunities. Yeah. So
and this is the only place, like this is the only time you have for such focused collaboration when everyone's locked down. And even when the restrictions lift and your business goes back to normal, because of the conferences, this is the only place where you can be collaborative. And you have these roundtables, which are fantastic, that breeds all this collaboration. But having the opportunity to do something that's a little bit more curated and targeted on specifics, like exit strategies or, something marketing based is just, it's incredible. Like I got to tell you, it's such a fantastic milestone for the franchise industry to have something like this available to them. My involvement in other like small business industries, nobody's ever come up with anything like this, and I think everyone could take advantage of it. It's almost like Elon Musk's roommate from college created something called the Founders Institute based out of California, and there's chapters all over the world that helps mentor curated groups of entrepreneurs, and that's exactly what's happening with these Play Bigger groups for the franchising industry. It's awesome.
That's so awesome to hear that, and I'm so glad that you're in my pilot group. It's been such a learning experience to figure out what people need and want and how to provide that value. And so I'm so excited. And as you know, I don't do anything sort of traditional, so I'm glad to see you noticed that this is sort of a new approach.
Awesome. All right, let's wrap this up.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go
be awesome.